yeah, I'm quitting the show.
Hey, talking to myself. Welcome to the podcast. I know that you gon' feel Dave Sands, the second, talking movies and gaming, even anime. Yeah, I might just go Super Saiyan. 242, the Bahamas, we gon' rep. Don't be anxious about nothing. Philippians 4:6. Sharing about my life, sharing about God's truth. Always keep it real when I'm talking to myself. Let's go.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Talking to Myself. Hey, talking to myself. Welcome to the podcast. I know that you gonna feel Dave Sands. That's me talking movies and gaming, even anime. Yeah, I might just go Super Saiyan. Boom, 242. The Bahamas, we gon' rep. Don't be anxious about nothing. Philippians 4:6. Woo! Sharing about my life, sharing about God's truth. Always keep it real when I'm talking to myself. With your host, with the very most, Dave Sands, numero dos. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so nice to have this microphone in my hand. How y'all doing? It's been a while. It feels like years, but it's literally only been a week, which we'll get into. But man, it has been, it's just been a while since I kind of talked to you all. For those who are listening to this podcast, from an audio perspective, because obviously the podcast is everywhere. This episode is a little different because I am standing. That's not a big deal whatsoever, but it's something different. And I think I'll definitely get into the idea of different in this episode, but trying out some different stuff, blah, 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 whatever. But of course, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are currently at 67 subscribers. We're still on the road to 100 subscribers, and we're close. So that's awesome. So yeah, if you feel so led, please drop a subscribe. It'll mean the world to me. Still trying to hit some goals, and yeah, we most certainly and absolutely move. But man, it has felt like such a long time since I have held the microphone in my hand. Last week was a whirlwind. I don't particularly remember what happened last week. I just know it was relatively busy for me. And so I really didn't want to put out an episode just to put out an episode's sake. Yes, I want to be consistent. And honestly, this is only the second time I've missed a week in Talk to Myself history, which is pretty good. That I've been like consistent over, I think it's been now, when did I start this thing? September, October, November, December, January, February, March, like 7 months. So that's not bad. But yeah, last week was a little hectic for me. And so I was just kind of tired, kind of like creatively drained, which I'll get into later on in the show. But yeah, I just didn't have the energy to like come up with something. When you're doing a solo podcast and you're trying to think of ideas every single week, you experience this thing called a creative block, right? And so that creative block to me was just like, I do not know what I want to talk about. I don't really feel like I have anything. I have things I could always talk about because I'm always thinking, because I'm a human, right? But at the same time, it's just like, do I have a passion to talk about something, right? And so that was kind of difficult for me to balance out last week. Because yeah, it was just a lot, man. But we're here now, glad to be back, and yeah, we'll definitely get into some other discussions later on in this episode. But as per usual, for those who may be new or those who are returning, of course, we always start each episode with a check-in, right? I look at life in three ways. We look at life from the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. PMS, if you will. Let's start with the physical. So physically, man, I I ain't gonna even lie, your boy feeling good physically. Um, I have changed a couple things about my physicality in the sense of what I'm doing now. Should I get into it? I mean, that could be a future video. But let's just say that I've changed my physical regime, if you will. I've been learning and trying different things in my life to see how my body is going to feel. And the body's feeling really good. Um, yeah, it's feeling really good. I'm being more disciplined and consistent in that area of my life, because if I want to see results, if I want to look good for the summer, if your boy want to have a little six pack later on in the future, then I have to be consistent, right? And so physically, I'm feeling really good, really good. Like, even though I am somewhat sore right now standing up, which I didn't even think of before pressing record, but we move. But yeah, I'm feeling good, man. I am feeling very good from a physical perspective. Mentally, I'm doing well. I think I'm doing a lot better. I'm always blessed, of course, but I'm just feeling a lot better, taking each day one day at a time, as Matthew 6:34 says. And yeah, I'm just feeling good. I can't really complain. I'm doing well. I mean, I could complain. There's always something to complain about, but I'm doing well from a mental perspective. Can I use a pepperoni pizza right now? Absolutely. Can I use a good film? Obviously. But overall, I'm doing really well. Now, from a spiritual perspective, of course, still doing well, still in the Word every single day. Right now, currently in the book of Job, reading the story of Job. I am in, I think this morning I read was that chapter 10 or 11? Chapter 10 or 11. The story of Job is a very interesting story. And it kind of came at a time where I needed to kind of hear some things. What I like about how I kind of do devotion, I kind of like, obviously you have you have your daily devotionals. My church also has like a daily devotional called Word of Life. But what I kind of like about the devotional thing that I'm doing right now is just like, I'm kind of just hopping in books of the Bible that I want to hop in right now. Like, yes, I still want to do chronological order, and I finished Genesis, started Exodus, need a little bit of break from Exodus, so I think I jumped to Songs of Solomon, which I finished, and then to kind of learn about love and learn about how Solomon has the highest Riz game in the Bible, but also now from Solomon, I jumped to Job, and Job is, like I said, a very interesting story. The story of Job I mean, I don't want to be like a spoiler alert, but like story of Job, was well with God, had everything in the world, stuff are taken away, and he's going through a time of pain and grief right now. Eventually he gets everything back, but I kind of want to see everything that kind of unfolded with Job. Because like I think in like chapter 1 or chapter 2 with Job, he was essentially praising God when he lost everything. But when you get into chapter 3, he was kind of cursing the day when he was born. And to be honest, I don't know if anybody was happy about that, but I surely was, because when I was kind of reading it, where my emotions was, I was just like, I'm so happy he is kind of cursing the day he was born, because it shows that he was human. It shows that even Job, someone that was very close with God and God kind of favored, even he had his struggles, right? And so even though he eventually got everything back, he did went through a time of pain, and he did went through a time of complaining. And as someone who does complain, yes, that's awesome to kind of see. So yeah, I'm loving the story of Job. Maybe we'll do an episode on it to kind of like because I was kind of more focused on Job's friends, because I mean, hey, I don't want to jump into that, because that could be a whole other episode. But I am enjoying Job right now, and then I'll kind of see where I'll go after I finish reading Job. I was kind of thinking like, I kind of just want to go. I don't want to call it random, but like around a book of the Bible that I've never really thought of reading. You got your Genesis, your Exodus, your Leviticus, your Matthew, Mark, Luke, and your Revelations, but you don't hear a lot about Malachi. At least for me, I haven't really read Malachi, Daniel, Hosea, Obadiah. Like, I haven't read like any. I mean, I read Jonah because Veggie Tales, but I haven't never read like any chapters like that. So I'm kind of curious as to like what's in there, so maybe I'll read, for me personally, like a book of the Bible that I've just never had any idea of, or never really thought of actually reading, because I just never have. So maybe that'll be next after Job. We'll see how the Spirit leads. But yeah, spiritually, we are doing well, man. We're doing extremely well. As you see from the title of the video, I said that I was going to quit And we're going to get into that idea of quitting. But I just remembered something, and now I gotta, well, should I do that in this video? I'm trying to think. I did do a poll, and I forgot to take the screenshots from that poll. I mean, I have them on my phone. I'm kind of recording with the phone. We'll do it in the next episode. For those who answer the poll, thank you so much. I think the poll was basically something along the lines of like, what like cartoon theme or like theme from like a game like absolutely slaps. Like I said, like Hey Arnold, for example, because Hey Arnold absolutely slaps. Now here we go. Here we go. That theme absolutely slaps, right? And so I got some really good answers. But we'll kind of address that in the next video, you know. So next week we'll address that topic, and then, you know, and then I'll have other topics, right? But yeah, some other things that I was thinking about this week. I thought about, before we get into like the main title of today's video, I was thinking about this idea of discipline, right? Discipline, like, what does discipline mean to me? I think right now in my life, I'm starting to see that in a lot of areas where I do have discipline, right? What does discipline mean by? I don't even know. What does discipline mean by definition? Discipline. I'm coming out of shot here, ladies and gentlemen. Just gonna discipline. Let's see. Discipline, by definition, is the practice of training people to obey rules. A branch knowledge to be one in higher education, trained to obey rules or code of behavior. Using the nah. Anyway, let's say what discipline means to me. Discipline to me is this idea about like essentially acting on what you say or acting on what you want to do. And so for me, I've been looking at some areas in my life where I've realized that I have been able to develop some discipline. For example, last year, in the early parts of 2023, what things weren't I disciplined with? One of those things was reading the Word, reading the Bible. Why wasn't I disciplined? Well, firstly, I didn't make time for it. I didn't discover what time was best for me to read the Bible. And nor did I have a physical Bible at the time that I purchased. I think in one of the episodes from way back when, I don't remember which one it is because that's a lot of episodes, but I kind of talked about like how to read the Bible, or was it like how to find time to read the Bible, something along those lines. It was really in the early stages of talking to myself history, right? And so I think one of the things I said was this idea of like, if I spend money on something, I have a higher chance of using it, right? So because I bought my own Bible, like most Bibles that I've received over my lifetime, has been a gift. Like I've never went out and purchased a Bible until last year, right? And so I purchased the Bible. I handpicked this Bible off of Amazon.com. Sponsor me, by the way, Amazon, I'm just saying. But I handpicked the Bible. I picked the version of the Bible I wanted, which is the New Living Translation. And then boop, bop, beat, I started to read the Bible because I spent money on it. And because, like, if I'm going to spend money on something, I have a higher chance of using it, right? Or some other things that I'm realizing that I'm disciplined in now. Been doing some, like I said, getting back into my fitness, right? Like truly trying to get in tip-top form, because your boy got, you know, some things he got to be in tip-top form for. You know what I'm saying? I got to look clean. I got to look nice. You know, I don't want to feel bloated all the time. I want to feel ready to go. And so I've been making some changes to life, like small changes. And that's the one thing I've been realizing about this thing of like exercise and physical fitness and all these things. Like you have to plan it for your type of lifestyle. Like everyone's lifestyle is different. Everyone has a different career. Everyone has needs and wants. Everyone is different, right? That's what makes us unique. And so for me, it's like not like rapidly changing every single thing in my life, but finding points in my life where I'm like, okay, maybe this is where I could hit, where I could do some physical activity, and this is something I could change, and I could tweak this and boop, bop, beep. Before you know it, you're on your own physical plan. Right. And so I think that's such a beautiful thing. And I think it's important to realize, because like what may work for me from a physical perspective may not work for you from a physical perspective, right? And so I think that's a beautiful thing to understand. So like learning how to develop discipline in different areas of life, I think is important, right? I think that's why, like, I was thinking about this idea of athletes, like, I'm a Lakers fan, right? And so, main guy on the Lakers is GOAT James, LeBron James. LeBron Ramon James, I believe is his middle name. But yeah, and like people like Steph Curry as well. Like, why do they get paid like millions of dollars just to put a ball through a hoop? Well, the reason was they developed their craft. Steph was so disciplined in his craft that his 3-point shot is worth like millions of dollars. That's why he gets paid like the $200 million contracts, because he was disciplined with his shot. Same thing when it comes to LeBron. Why does LeBron make so much money? Well, because he was disciplined in taking care of his body. I think he's in year 21 right now, right? He's moving right now how every like rookie is moving in year 21. Why is that? Some of the players can't even keep up with LeBron. But that's because he took such good care of his body, and he had the discipline to do that for 21 years straight. That's why he gets paid millions of dollars. That's why he has the lifetime Nike deal, And so I think discipline can carry us in so many ways of life. Like, imagine if we were disciplined in a lot of our areas, like in our friendships, in our relationships, in our spiritual life, in our physical life, in our mental life. I think life would be a lot sweeter, right? And so this idea of discipline has really been on my head. Like, if I could get more discipline in all areas of my life, then shoot, I'd be thriving even more, and who doesn't want to be thriving? I want a fruitful life. I want an awesome life. I want to have fun, and I want to achieve, a lot of the goals that I would like to. And so, yeah, I think that discipline has been something that's been on my mind this week. And it's a beautiful thing, man. Like, hey, if we all get a little bit more discipline, then we absolutely move, and then life will be sweeter for each and every one of us. So yeah, that's been kind of on my mind this week, this idea of discipline, and the idea of like, hey man, like you could really do anything in this world. Obviously it's biblical, like I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and I truly believe in that. With that, and then I also believe as well as like, if you try hard enough, you work hard enough, you study hard enough, then you could really achieve anything in this world. And so yeah, if you want to be a YouTuber, then hey, you got to make YouTube videos. If you want to be a pro gamer, then you got to play games. If you want to learn more about the Word of God, then hey, you just got to pick up the Bible and read it. All these different things you can be as long as you develop some level of discipline. So I think that was kind of something that I was thinking about this week, and it's a beautiful thing. That's what I kind of learned this week. And so we absolutely move. So now we talked about, obviously we did the mental check-in and the health and PMS. We talked about discipline. And so now we're going to talk about what the title of this video is. Obviously from the thumbnail, you could see, probably, by the way, I'm just saying I snapped with that thumbnail. I have been, and I love how I could kind of see progression in my channel. I know how to make thumbnails. I have a technique now. It's beautiful. It's a very simple technique that I've been needing to do for a long time. Sometimes I get lazy, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a lazy young man at times. But I was finally able to see and try to make a thumbnail, and yeah, that's the thumbnail. I think it looks really good. I hope it generates stuff. Like, I can't do like A/B testing like like the big creators, but hey, I think it works. So anyway, I quit, right? The truth of the matter is, I think about the future a lot. I do. I'm a man who likes to plan. Man, oh, that was a bar. So someone should sign me, bro. I could rap. Man with the plan, really, and the man with the plan. Anyway, so yeah, I think about the future a lot, right? And so one of the things I think about for the future is this show. I think about talking to myself, like, what am I trying to accomplish here? Like, can I really be a YouTuber? Can I really build an audience? Can I really create a space where I'm able to talk about my Christian faith and talk about gaming, movies, like like the intro says, and talk about personal stories and, anything I kind of want to under the sun? Can I create a space for me to do that? And so obviously, yes, the answer is yes, right? Like, I'm doing that thing. This is my space. This is my channel. And so I have the ability to do that. But again, you kind of look, for me, I'm a results-based person, right? And I like to see progression, and I like to see growth, and I want to see all these different things. And I look at the channel, I'm just like, dang, you know, why am I even putting in all this effort? Should I stop while I'm ahead? Things like that. And so some days I'm just like, yeah, I'm quitting the show, you know? And so, yeah, I think about quitting, and I think about why am I doing this? And I think about that in a lot of aspects of my life. Like, should I be doing this? You know, is this something I want to do? Is this something maybe that God wants me to do? Or should I just stop? You know, and, you know, all these different things, and trying to align both what God wants me and what I have for me. And hopefully that could reach, because sometimes I feel that's so far apart at times, because, you know, we all have our different needs and wants, and we all have an idea of what we want life wants to be, but sometimes God just be like, hey, that ain't gonna happen. I'm like, dang, okay. But yeah, so I was thinking about quitting and quitting the show, but I kind of been realizing that maybe I don't want to quit. So let's get that fear out of the way. I don't want to quit. Was that a clickbaity title? Yes and no. Because it was my honest thoughts. You know, it's like, yes, I want to quit, and that's why I made an amazing thumbnail. But also, like, I don't want to quit just yet. I still think I still have a lot of learning to do from this space, and, you know, I want to try. Like, I don't, for those who may not have been here at the beginning, I think in episode 1 I said, like, the reason why I started this podcast was like, I just didn't want to look back at life and be like, hey, like, I wish I did this thing. I wish I did that, or blah, 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 right? I don't want to do a lot of wishing. Like, I mean, I love I Wish by Stevie Wonder, but it's a great song. But like, I just didn't want to be wishing, hopefully at the age of like 85, 90, like I did that. I wish I did something. Like, I want to do like everything my heart kind of desires. I at least want to try it. And if I fail, then fine, right? And so I was just thinking about, you know, I was just thinking about that, right? And so I kind of thought about, why did I start this YouTube channel? Why did I start this podcast? Why, right? And so we have to step back a little bit and go back to where this all began. I went on a trip last year, right? And, you know, I was able to travel to Europe and kind of see Greece, and, you know, all these beautiful places. Beautiful. We live in a beautiful world, and it has to be explored, right? And so during that time, before I was going on that trip, I said to myself that I need to capture these moments, right? For years, I've been wanting to create content, and I wanted to learn how to do this, and so I wanted to create travel videos, right? And so what I did for months leading up to that trip is I wanted to develop this skill. So I wanted to learn, okay, how am I going to film this thing? Okay, obviously I'm going to use like my cell phone, for example. Okay, great. How I want the audio to sound a little bit decent. Okay, you get a little nice lapel mic from Amazon for a cheap price. Again, Amazon sponsored me. Like, I dropped your name 2 times in this. Right? Now I was like, okay, I need to learn how to edit for real. Like, I had a TikTok, I still do, it's still up, where I posted like Pokemon shiny hunting videos, which is still lit. I still get views from one of the TikToks that's like on 22,000 views. I'm just saying, it was really good. I did really good. But I would use Adobe Premiere during those times, but I didn't learn Adobe Premiere. So I would watch YouTube videos on Adobe Premiere, and that's how I learned how to edit, but I still didn't know really what I was doing. Like, if something went wrong, I didn't know how to correct it. I would close out the project, start fresh. I still kind of do that now when things kind of go wrong, but I kind of know where to go now, right? And so I did a course on editing on Skillshare, which is the sponsor of this video. No, it's not. I wish it was. It's not sponsored of this video. That would have been nice though. If hey, Skillshare, look, I'm just shooting my shot for advertising. Skillshare, I used your platform to learn how to learn Adobe Premiere Pro. It's a great platform. I did a couple courses, I did a couple videos, learned everything that I want to, like the basic things in Adobe, right? And so I use Skillshare to learn how to edit, learn the basics, right? And once I learned the basics, then I kind of opened the software for me. Once I opened the software, in the sense of like, I know what to do. I know how to do things now. I don't have to be fearful of using the software. Then once you have the basics down, then that's when you could get creative. So that's when you could learn how to do like the different, like the text moves, and that's where you kind of learn where to do the different transitions and all that stuff. Because once you know the basics, then I could just YouTube any transition I want. Like, I don't know how to do the transitions off rip. I just YouTube them, learn how to do them, and just like put it in the video. It's a very simple thing. Anyways, I did all that to post reels on Instagram and to create amazing content. And I think I really did achieve my goal of creating travel vlogs and trying to show people where I'm at, and hey, this is what I'm doing. And that was really fun for me. Like, I really enjoyed that. And after that period, once the trip was kind of ending, then even during on the trip, when I was on the cruise for the Europe trip, I did like a at sea podcast where I just kind of was speaking my mind and kind of things I was seeing, and all those different stuff. And that's what led me to where we are today with talking to myself. That was the reason for it, right? And so I think of purpose for a lot of things I do, and I wanted to get back to why am I doing this. So as I kind of thought of it, what were the reasons I started this podcast? Well, the first reason is I want to be creative, right? I have a desire to be creative. I realize that, like, there are two parts of the brain. I can't remember what it is because I forgot to Google it. But when I was in elementary, there are two parts of the brain. There's, I think it's like the analytical side, where that's where you get your maths and your sciences, and then you have the creative side, right? So for me, I need both sides. I need my analytical side, like my accounting side, which I would deem as like my analytical study side and all that stuff. And I need the creative side. The creative side for me is this. It's the reels that I create, and then it's the YouTube video. So I need both sides to be me, right? And so I do this to be creative. I do this to create something new, and to create something kind of like from thin air, if you will, because like you get an idea, it's in your head, but then you have to actually act on that idea. That's the creation process, right? That's the beautiful thing. And so, yeah, I do this to expand and be creative, because after that trip, there is a need for me to be creative. I have to be creative. Like, I can't just go back. Like, yes, I may not post a reel for a long time, but when I see a really good YouTube video, or I see a really good movie, or whatever it is, like, I get inspired to be creative. And so for me, I really wanted to be creative on this channel. And so I kind of felt like sometimes the podcast could kind of put me in a box, if you will, right? Like, I get nervous because, like, obviously I talk a lot about my Christian faith, and that's something that's important to me. And so I get kind of nervous of the fear of judgment. Like, what if I create a vlog and I use X song in there? Not saying it's the song is going to have cursing or any bad words in it, because this is a PG channel, and then I don't want people to stumble, 1 Corinthians 8. But I do want to put some bangers in there. Like, if I want to put like, Stevie Wonder song, MJ song, or, if I want to put like one of the songs, and I'm creating a video right now, it's gonna be awesome. I don't want to talk about that just yet, but like, I want to use like a Sheryl Crow song from the Cars movie, which is like Real Gone. It goes like, slow down, you're gonna crash. But then at the beginning of the song, it talks like, I'm American made, Bud Light, Chevrolet. And I don't want to promote any drinking, because your boy don't drink, which can be another podcast for that. But I kind of overthink sometimes, like the fear of judgment and the fear of like the fear of judgment, that's kind of been getting to me a little bit. And so that's kind of been putting me in a box a little bit, right? But I think sometimes I also have to realize and know who I am. But not only who I am, but whose I am. Like, I know I'm saved. I know that not through Romans 10 and Romans 10:9, I believe, but also I just know that, right? I do know that. So I don't have to necessarily fear what others think, but I also have to be mindful that, there's still a way I have to live, and there's still a way that I have to represent Christianity, and all these different things, right? But I still want to be creative, and so it's kind of like making sure I'm balancing that out, right? Like I want to be as creative as humanly possible, but I don't want to cause people to stumble, things like that. That's also on my mind, right? But with that being said, I think I want to try different stuff, right? For example, right now I'm standing. I wouldn't normally stand in my videos, but here I am standing, and it is kind of freeing. Like look at this, like look at the space, like look at this, like whoa, like wow, there's so much freedom outside of a chair, like that. And then I'm thinking about maybe even like posting the videos a different time. Like okay, maybe what I'm learning from Instagram, for example, is when I post later, a lot more people see the story. So maybe I post the video later. Like maybe I post it at 6 on Saturdays instead of like 7 a.m. when I'm first waking up and my eyes are like this. So what I'm saying is I'm going to try some different things creatively on this channel. Like, yes, I'm still doing the pod, don't get me wrong, and I'm still want to have guests. Like that's a goal of mine. I don't even want to explain what I'm trying to do right now, but yes, I had to do a quick cut there because stuff. But yeah, I want to be creative, and I want to try different things, man. And I think that's what like kind of had me down last week. Like I want to try different things on the channel outside of just being a podcaster, because I could do many different things. I could create vlogs because that's where I started. So I'm actually working on a video right now. I don't know when this video is going to be out, but I really think this may be one of the best videos that I possibly produce, because this one's going to have more storytelling. This one's going to be I've learned how to color grade like a little bit, so just enough where I could say, wow, it does not look bad. And I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. So that's why I started this pod, to be creative, right? Second reason I started this, I wanted to create a platform that was for me. I want a platform that I could talk about things that I enjoy. I want to talk about gaming. I want to talk about anime. I want to talk about personal stories, right? I want to talk about things that make up me, everything that makes up me, right? And so that was another reason I started. I wanted to create a platform. So I wanted to be creative, number one. Number two, I just wanted to create a platform that I could just express myself in many different ways, from movies, anime, gaming, music, all that different stuff, right? And then number three, I think about this idea about influencer. I think this will be the last point for now. What does that mean? Like the term influencer, I think, gets a negative light in society because, like, it's just like when you think of influencer, you think of like, well, like what are you influencing, right? And so for me, I was thinking about like, when I do this, what am I trying to do? Like, how am I going to be influencing? Like, yes, I'm going to talk about gaming. Yes, I will talk about movies and anime and personal stories, but how can I actually do the influencing part of influencing? Well, that's where my Christian faith comes in, right? I don't know if y'all notice, but every single episode, I got to have something Christian related, because that is very much an important part of my life. I had to, right? If I was going to talk about everything else with the gaming, anime, movies, all that stuff, I still need substance, right? Because we know at some point all those things will fade away, but Christianity, Jesus Christ, he lives forever. So that's why every episode I have to talk about something faith related, even if I'm not, like in this episode, I'm not directly quoting anything from the Bible, or like reading a story from the Bible. I'm still talking about my Christian faith, right? So I made that something that I had to do, because that's where I influence. That's the part of my influencing thing. Like, yes, I could talk about personal stories. Yes, I could talk about stuff, all those different things. But where can I also influence people is with my Christian faith. And so that's why for every single episode, I have to include something Christian faith related. So regardless of who I have on this show, we got to talk about faith in some capacity, because that is where influence is going to come in, so yeah, all those different things kind of make up why I do this. I want to be creative. I want to create a platform where I can talk about movies, gaming, anime, all that different stuff. And number three, I really wanted to be an influencer, and I wanted to influence people, and I feel like that influence can come through my Christian faith. And so many different things, so many different thoughts. But the good news is we still here, we still out here, we still creating content, we're still talking to ourselves, and the podcast will still continue. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to kind of come on here and kind of talk about just talk. That's what a podcast is. You just talk. And so thank you all so much for listening. This has been a breath of fresh air to kind of get that off my chest because I do have a lot of fear sometimes when I do this and I do overthink. But, I mean, the Bible says not to be anxious, right? Philippians 4:6. That's what it says in the intro. But yeah, so I'm grateful for everyone that tunes in. I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you all so much for listening and watching this episode. Episode 35, 34, Cinco, excuse me. And yeah, of course, I'm gonna see y'all next week. Of course, your boy's still playing stuff, so let me know what y'all want to kind of talk about in the next one in the comment section. And yeah, let me know what y'all think. So as always and per usual, we absolutely and certainly move. Sila, we move. Yes, sir. Different style. We stood up. That was awesome. Yes, sir.